Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today I will be talking about everything that has to do with research and development in Crusader Kings III. Now honestly, I think research and development isn't the most important thing in your CK3 games, and you can play extremely well without dealing with what techs you research or optimizing your research speed. However, I think that because it can be easy to let research play out in the background, lots of players don't really have a good understanding of how it all works. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you a rundown of how research works in CK3, followed by some tips you guys can use in your games to get that research time down. So first of all, you can play entire games of CK3 and never even have the option to choose what your people are researching. This is because to determine the research focus for your duchy, kingdom, or empire, you first need to be the head of your people's culture. So what does this mean? Well, in CK3 there are a bunch of different cultures in the game, much like real life, and the research speed and different techs that get unlocked are all linked through people's cultures. As an example, if you're playing as a Norseman in England and your friend is playing as a Norseman in Sweden, you both will have access to the exact same technologies throughout the entirety of the game. And the person who chooses what tech will be researched next is the culture head, the person who has the highest number of Norse counties in the game. This can all be seen in the research screen, where it will say who is the culture head and how many counties of that culture they have, and then it will also show you how many counties your player currently has of that culture. So to become the culture head, you either have to take more counties with your player's culture, or you can convert some of the counties that you own that are not of your culture. Next, we will talk about the speed of which your research progresses. If you're new to CK3, you might be wondering why it takes so long to unlock some new technologies. Well, if you hover over the technology you're currently trying to research, you'll see a progress bar that goes from 0 to 100. And below it, you'll see a sentence that says there is a X% chance to gain Y progress per month. This may seem complicated, but it actually comes down to two different stats that you need to look into. First, the percentage comes from your player's learning skill. The higher your learning skill, the higher this fascination bonus for the tech you've chosen to research will be. Second, the progress per month that you get is only dependent on the average development of all the counties that share your culture. What this means is if I click on the culture map, you'll see that all my empire is following the Tamil culture. So I'm going to want to keep the development high in all of these regions that have my culture, but you'll see that these counties to the north and to the west of my region here are also part of my culture, but because they're not part of my land, I can't do anything to increase their development. This development bonus that goes into research doesn't only count for the counties that are in your territory, it's all the counties following that culture in the game. This is one of the reasons I have trouble playing a Norse game, because if you look at the Norse culture, you'll see how big it is and how many places actually follow the Norse culture. So first of all, you probably won't end up being the culture head when you're playing a Norse game, because there's always somebody who has a lot of land in Sweden or Norway. But also, look at how low progress is per month from these nations. You can see it's getting a bonus of 0.04, and that's because the development in the Norse countries is super low. So even if you own some Norse land in England, and you're doing your hardest to increase the development in your land, there will always be a bunch more Norse land that is underdeveloped from just the computer owning it and refusing to increase its development. So now that you guys hopefully have a better understanding of how researching the innovations/technologies work in CK3, let's go into a few tips and tricks that I use in my games to help increase my research speed. One of the most obvious things that you can do to increase your research speed is to choose the learning lifestyle with a scholarship focus, because this will give you a little bonus in your player's learning skill. And if I'm in a game where I really want to rush certain innovations, I will make sure to clean out the scholar tree, because there are some really good perks in here that will either increase your learning ability or just flat out increase your research speed. One that is really easy to pick up is the scientific perk, which increases your fascination progress by 35%. Some other great perks in this tree are scholarly circles, which increases your learning per level of devotion by 2. Another perk that I really like in this tree is the learn on the job, which gives you 20% of your counselor's primary skills added to your own skill. If I have a counselor who has 20 in their particular skill, 20% of that will be a +4 bonus to my own skill. And then obviously the last perk, Scholar, is very helpful as it gives you +5 learning, which will increase your research speed flat out. The next tip I have for you guys is to try and always have your steward on increase the development in a county for as much as you can during your games. Since the average development of counties with your player's culture directly affects your research speed, being sure to raise the development in the counties that you own will have an impact on the progress gain number. Just be sure that the county is part of your culture before raising its development. You don't want to do all the hard work for another person's culture. Another thing that you should watch out for are counties that you recently captured that have high development but aren't part of your culture. If you take a county and see it has a development rating much higher than any of the counties that you own that are part of your culture, you can always convert that county to your culture using the Steward's Promote Culture task. Once the county is converted, it will start affecting the average development of your culture's counties, which will raise the progress gained number and in turn raise the speed of your research. Like I said before, increasing development is always a good idea, but starting the game, putting your steward on increased development in your capital and leaving him there for the whole game is not good. In CK3, there is something called the existing development penalty, and you can see it when hovering over the development number of one of the counties that you're trying to increase the development in. This mechanic works in a way where the higher the development is in a county, the higher development penalty will be, and the longer it will take to increase the development further. So if you just leave your steward in your capital on increasing development, after about 100 years or so, your capital might be at 20 or 30 development, but your other counties might all be under 10. By moving your steward around to the lowest developed counties with your culture, the development should increase faster than trying to improve your highest developed land. And since it's the average development that matters, going from either 35 to 36 or from 4 to 5 would make no difference in the progress gain number, but it would be much quicker to raise the development of a county from 4 to 5. Does the word development sound weird to anybody else now? Just me? The last tip I have for you guys might be a bland one, but knowing where the innovations are in the tech tree does help quite a lot in your games. Take the existing development penalty as an example. In each era, there is a tech that increases the limit of the development penalty. Knowing this can be helpful if you know that you just unlocked a new era and are reaching your development cap in a lot of your counties. Knowing that there's a tech coming that can raise this cap, you can rush that innovation and then let your lands develop properly again. Most techs work in this way, where there will be one tech each era that essentially does the same thing as the last era but just increases it further. Another example of this is the military innovation that raises the men-at-arms size and the number of different types of men-at-arms that you can have. But honestly, after playing your way through a few games, you should have a decent understanding of the techs and where they are and which ones you'll need when. Well, that's all the information I have about research and development in Crusader Kings III. Hopefully, now you'll be able to run through the different innovations in the game and use the technological advantage to destroy anybody who gets in your way. I plan on doing a video where I try to get every innovation in the game as quickly as possible, so be sure to let me know of anything else I didn't touch on that might help me out. You can also smash that subscribe button if you don't want to miss that gameplay video. Alright, thanks for watching guys, see you in the next one.